Welcome to the Atomic Impact Podcast. I'm your host, Jason Osborn, and on this podcast, we interview successful business owners for them to share atomic, impactful lessons that they've learned along their journey as a business owner and share them with us. As always, this show is sponsored by the LinkedIn Reverse Podcast Method, the new way to close deals that doesn't rely on any of those old traditional methods that everybody hates. We use this method about 26 qualified leads and sales calls in 10 days without any ad spend, outreach, or endless social media posting. To find out more, direct message me on LinkedIn. That's Jason A. Osborn, and that will be in the show notes below as well. On today's show, though, our special guest is Tanja Diamond. She is the owner of Inspire Life, where she helps you to craft your legacy talk, get your book done, and to finish creating that course that you've always wanted to start or get done. So it's great to have you on the show, Tanja. And I want to start off with a question I always love asking people. And the question is this: if you were somehow able to go back in time and go to when you first started your business, what's the number one piece of advice that you would give yourself?
I love that question. And let's just say that I'm going to stick to the started online business in 92 because I've been an entrepreneur since I was 16 years old and I'm 63. So I kind of been around. But when I first started my online business back in 1992, I was one of the first women to make money online that was not in the porn industry. That would have been
Okay.
faster, but I like a
Yeah.
challenge. I would say that follow other successful people. So I'm an innovator, a visionary, and one of the things that I have struggled with is the wanting to do it my way,
Yeah.
and being fancy with how I name things. People have no idea what I'm even talking about. Yeah, so that would be land the plane. Stop thinking you're so unique that you can't follow a formula. Stop thinking that, your niche and everything you're doing has to be like so outside the box. Because as an innovator, I'm 7 years ahead, and that means that I have to educate everybody on buying the things, and that is not where you want to start. You want to start easy peasy, jump in, follow somebody super successful, and just do the thing. Stop trying to
Yeah.
create a new wheel.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. So I'm going to dive into some deeper questions around this because I love this topic. I think it's something that a lot of people misunderstand in business, even whether they're brand new or whether they've been in business for a while. So you said, don't try to reinvent the wheel. You don't have to be unique in this. And I'd love to get just some thoughts or lessons you've learned along the way for those people that are stuck in that frame of mind where they're going, do you know what? There's already people doing it. There's competition. I've got to do something that no one else is
Yeah,
doing.
yeah,
Talk on that topic. I know you know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm sure you've come across it many times. I'd love to just for not only for new people starting off, but again for existing
yeah,
business owners that maybe they were doing a jack of all trades because when they got started, but now they know they have to niche down.
yeah,
What
yeah.
are some lessons around that?
Well, here's a perfect example too. Even as a seasoned, obviously with seasoned, created many multi-million dollar brands at this point. But last year, I decided to start a new brand called Unique Speaking Style. And it's a personal development program for speakers. Now, that all makes sense. You're nodding your head, uh-huh. I'm nodding my head, uh-huh. But what I noticed in the sales calls is that people would show up, and I always take all my own sales calls to start when I start a new brand because I want to
Yeah,
see who am I bringing in, what's happening. That
yeah,
they were all confused about what any of this was. That is not a good sign.
yeah, yeah.
So I know that speakers need personal development at a deeper level than just the speaking part, but they
Yeah.
didn't. So they had not identified a problem. And here's that lesson number one. If the people you're attracting don't know they have the problem, they aren't buying from you. Surprise,
Yes.
surprise. If you have to educate them too much on the fact that they might have that problem, not going to work out well. So I spent about 2 months taking sales calls before I shut it down and pivoted to my new brand, Red Circle Ready, which is all about TEDx, not general speaking stuff, but I niched down to helping people with TEDx talks primarily in my marketing. I do all the other stuff too, but this
Yeah.
one brand. All of a sudden, the people that were showing up on sales calls knew that they wanted a TEDx talk. and I was giving them the solution.
Yeah.
So that's an example right there of when we feel like we need to do something that we know, we believe our clients need, but our clients don't identify with that need, you're going to struggle. And most
Mm,
people, and you might make a little money, what I call suck money. It's enough
hmm.
money to make you think that you have something going on. So you
Yeah.
spend more money than you make on trying to hold on to it. And that's the biggest lesson I've learned. Sometimes, yes, we need persistence to have the long game in mind, because you're not going to be an overnight success. It usually takes 10 years, right? Or whatever. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
but to know when to shut it down, to know when
Mm,
it's gone too creative or too something, and do that market research. And that was my sales calls, and shut it down and not spend another 2 years or whatever. So for me, it was a start to finish. It was a 5.5 month, $6,000 experiment.
yeah. And I love that. And yes, shut things down, but also I think, I don't want people to misinterpret that, because you
Yeah.
didn't quit, you didn't stop it, you just
No,
pivoted
pivoted.
so that it was a much more targeted
Yeah.
element. One of
Yeah.
the other things I'd love for you to speak on, because again, I love this topic, is yeah, but Tanya, like if I niche down, what about all these other people that
I
I'm not going to be able
know.
to do business with? Or, is it too small of a market and all that stuff?
Yeah.
Talk on that and some of the lessons for helping people with that.
Yeah. So sad, isn't it? Well, because I love to say things in stories. One year I decided that I needed a really supremely big offer, right? $100,000 offer. The highest I'd gone before was, I think, 18K.
Okay.
And I decided to have an outrageous offer on my page so that the 18K and everything looked like a no brainer. So I came up with I will make all your decisions. I will take over your life for a year for 100K. I will make every decision that you need to make in your life, tell you why, and hand your life back in a year from now, perfectly aligned and great. You can just take it from there. That's outrageously like I
Yeah,
sold
yeah,
2 in a week. Now, let me ask you, how many clients do you need at 100K?
yeah, yeah. Not too many.
So it was the easiest sales calls I'd ever had. It was crazily weird that when I went to that outrageous kind of up there, but it was very clear what I was going to do. I had one client like, oh, that's a no-brainer. You're a strategist. My life's a mess. Here, boom. Can I make payments? That was his question. It was literally a 5-minute conversation. And then I
Wow.
was telling somebody else, oh my God, I sold this thing. It was crazy. And he goes, yeah, what are the payment plans? I'm like, yeah, you got a year to pay it. And he's like, let's do it. So yeah, very interesting. So
Mm,
there's people who sell like Jaguar emblems only, right? The guy makes multi-million dollars. All he sells is Jaguar emblems because apparently people rip those off all the time. So when it comes down to small, you really have to ask yourself, first of all, I always like to know, what's my target income, right?
mm,
So, and in that target income, what do I reverse engineer that to look like?
yeah.
Because it doesn't take millions of people to make a great living, right?
Mm,
It doesn't. And
yeah.
so, do the people, it can be super small. You just raise your price and be extraordinary. But are there people looking for that? And you hope that there's competition. God knows you do not want to be the first one out of the gate. Don't do
Yes.
that. That's insane. You're going to spend tons of money doing that. You want competition. You want to go look at your competition. If there's several people doing it and they are successful, yes, people never get tired of buying something that solves a problem multiple times over. How many things do
Yeah.
you've got books all behind you there? I bet they're all
Yeah.
on business and things.
Most of them. Yeah.
Exactly. You can one day say, you know what? I don't want to read another business book. I do not want to get more educated. You're never going to do that.
No, no. And that is such a powerful lesson for everyone, is that, niching down oftentimes is the answer. It feels counterintuitive
Yeah.
oftentimes, because I think the traditional thought process is, no, we have to cast a wide net. But oftentimes when you do that, you don't catch what you want to catch.
You
And
don't
most
talk
of
to
the time,
anyone.
you don't catch anyone, or the ones that you get aren't the ones you want.
Well, there's that
So
too. There's that too. Yeah, when it comes to speaking, it's really hard for speakers to want to niche down because they want to talk to everybody. And I go, you
mm,
don't talk to a teenage boy the same way you talk to a 40-year-old woman. There
yep,
is just no way. You have to talk to who you are when you had the problem.
yeah,
And even in marketing, I find that to be true. Talk to who you were when you
yeah,
have the problem, because you're going to have the right languaging and understanding of the emotions
yeah,
behind that.
yeah. Oh, exactly, exactly. And it's so, so true. It's I think people are just they're afraid to niche down, particularly if they've been in business for a while. The amount of people that I speak to, and they're like, oh, I say, well, who's your target market? Well, we work with this, and it's just literally all over the place.
Mhm.
It's like, yeah, I didn't ask you who you worked with. I asked who's your target market, and they don't know. They can't define it, which is
Yeah.
quite interesting. So, are there any tips or advice for people that maybe they're in that place right now? They feel like they're maybe floundering, or maybe they have a good business, but they know that the way they've been positioning themselves in the market is kind of put a ceiling on where they can go, and they know they need to niche down. What are some tips on how to do that and overcoming the mindset trap of doing that as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the first thing is to understand that when you are using generalized full life potential words, uh, full life potential, but all these
Yeah.
like big words, they don't really mean much. And everybody's using them. So that's a good way to stay in the, big general net, even in speaking of nobody being interested, because they can't identify. So the first thing
Mhm.
is, number one, what is the problem you're solving? And are you trying to solve it from a high level that isn't about you? So the first secret when I'm helping speakers figure out their idea, or the authors is their idea, is this very question. Who were you when you had the biggest problem you faced that you have a great solutions, first step solution for? So
Mhm.
that's marketing. It's all marketing, right? If you're in a business and you were struggling to start a business, then you figured out a one-step, two-step process to do it, then go to that and look at that. So let's solve problems that we are really aware of, from an emotional, psychological standpoint, and that we
Mhm.
did create a solution. And the solution, I always like to think our first solution is what I call the life ring. Okay, we're not solving their full life potential. Okay, let's just give it
Yeah.
a, what we're
Yeah.
solving is the first problem they had when, so if it was you and you were suicidal and you've picked up a journal and started journaling, that's your life ring. Now you're 10
Mhm.
years away from that. You don't recognize that as the life ring pivot point that it is,
Yeah.
right? That right there, we try to give too much based on our 10 years out of the space.
Yeah.
Back it all up, come back to that very beginning piece. Because what seems like a no-brainer for you and simple for you now is not for the person struggling with the problem,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Right there.
Absolutely.
If we could like just take everything we're doing and go right back to that point and step in, feel the desperation, feel the anger, feel the frustration, whatever it was, you're talking to your client right there because they're
Yeah.
struggling with that. And then don't give them something that's so overwhelming that they have no ability to even imagine, oh, you're suicidal, or I'm going to help you climb Kilimanjaro. And, in that process, you'll learn how to blah, blah, blah. No, they can't see Kilimanjaro. They can
No.
barely get out of bed. So
Yep.
we
Yep.
have to remember how that feeling is, what was happening in our lives right then, what we were capable of, and stop overwhelming our prospects.
Yes. Yes. I love it. I love it. I feel like I don't know, I feel like we could, I don't know, talk forever on this topic, or it's like you're preaching to the choir here. It's like, yes, 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 yes. Gosh, the amount of times I say that to people over and over. So it's great to hear that from somebody else. Um, what's
He's not the only one. He's not the only one.
I
So
know, I know, I know. And it's a common, and I get it, right? It's a common problem. I've had to deal with that as well.
sure.
It's really weird. What I've found in business is most of the times that what leads you to success is the very opposite of the traditional way of thinking. And so it's a very counterintuitive way. But when you learn it and you just figure out, okay, it's all right to go against the grain, it's actually what works much easier and flows better. So, but over the next, let's say 2 years, 3 years of your business, what are your goals? What are you looking to achieve?
Yeah. Well, like I said, I've created, I have 5 multi-million-dollar brands over the years. And really what I'm pivoting to now, and this is another thing that entrepreneurs struggle with, and that certainly as an innovator I do, is working myself out of the, like, I'm not the main event. So a lot of us feel like we're so unique and the way we do stuff, nobody else could do. Well, that's a litmus test of something that's not scalable. Heads up.
Yeah.
So I create certification programs in everything that I do because I'm vetting it to make sure that I can be out of it. I can create coaches that do it and stuff like that. Now, for a lot of us, that's like, oh, no, it feels so special. It's not just me. Well, that means my formula is good. That means my steps are good. That means it's scalable. So I'm taking all my brands right now. And as you know, communities are the thing. We're getting tired of the old sales funnel, high ticket sales calls, BS, right? We're done with that. And creating communities where people can come in and have their own adventure. So I'm pivoting to communities instead of, rearranging funnels. And I still have some funnels. They're never going to go out of style, but having the community allows me to interact more, have more touch points with all the people in the community. And I also interview everybody in my communities, and I kick people out that don't participate. So my communities are tight, right? And I want to push more into passive income. I love waking up to money in my inbox. That's one of my favorites. And more out of the one-on-one experience or group, because I want time freedom is what my big pivot now is.
Amazing.
So, yeah, that's what I'm working for, because I'm moving to Morocco. I mean, I'm digital nomading, and I've been a digital nomad, and so time zone hopping is hard on scheduled clients. So I want scheduled to look free.
Yeah. Totally get you. That's amazing. Love it. Love that. Love that. Well, for people that want to get in touch with you, what's the best way for them to do that?
Well, if you can spell my name, Tanja Diamond, I'm on 30 pages of Google. It's going to be hard to not find me. You have to not be looking. Facebook is my jam. Yes, I know, old school, but I had in the last 2 weeks had, like, I don't know, over 500,000 interactions on my Facebook post. So people like me there. Nice. And so Tanja Diamond, spell it right.
Amazing.
You'll find me.
They'll find you. That's fantastic. Well, Tanja, thank you so much for being on the show. It's been an absolute privilege, and just love talking to you here. And for everyone listening, just as a reminder, this show is sponsored by the LinkedIn Reverse Podcast Method, the new way to close deals that doesn't rely on any of the old traditional methods that everybody hates. To find out more, direct message me on LinkedIn to have a chat. That's Jason A. Osborn, and link will be in the show notes below.